to Rockin' Kentucky Blue, the podcast where we are serious about our cats. Join two card-carrying Blue Rockin' members of the Big Blue Nation as they keep you up to date on the latest happenings of the University of Kentucky Wildcats. Here are your hosts, one calm member of the sports media, Michelle Mamba Brown, and one crazy fan, Jay Hayes.
Good Monday morning and welcome to Rockin' Kentucky Blue, episode 66. It's time to look ahead.
Say that quick.
Time to look ahead.
Time. Yeah, it's also someone's birthday. Happy birthday.
It would be me. Old me.
45, huh?
I vaguely remember 45. That would have been back in that would have been in that would have been in 2006.
Wow.
Yeah, well, thanks for that.
But no, happy birthday. What are you doing for your birthday?
Well, my best friend is taking me to lunch at Gibby's in Frankfurt, which is
Nice.
like Gibby's is have you ever been to Gibby's?
No.
Oh, well, they're kind of a combination, sort of a deli, but not really a deli because they serve a lot of other foods. And one of their specialties is their hot brown, which is, other than my hot brown, which of course is the best ever because I make it exactly the way I want it, they have the next best hot brown, and I don't have to do dishes. So,
Well, at least you're keeping it Kentucky.
Well, there you go.
Kentucky thing. So.
Well, so they even have a sandwich down there called the Tubby Club.
I like it. I like it.
It's a good sandwich, actually. I've had that. My daughter wants to do something. She said, "What do you want to do?" Well, what is there to do that would keep me from having to go outside in the sweltering heat?
I love it.
So maybe this afternoon I'll get her to take me to Hoggy's downtown for ice cream.
Right.
Very appropriate name for an ice cream shop, don't you think, Hoggy?
Yeah. Yeah. You share a birthday with my youngest daughter. Her birthday is today. We went to Kings Island this past weekend. Fun.
And
saw a big brawl break out and everything.
What was that about? Anything?
It was weird. I will say that Kings Island is not safe because the security is, that fight went on for quite some time until somebody mentioned that they're going to shoot the place up. Then everybody scattered after that. So, yeah, it was pretty wild.
This whole world has just gone totally nuts.
Yeah, so we was like, okay. But yeah, that was a long weekend cookout yesterday, family coming in from out of state. So yeah, I'm tired. And I got some hate mail last week. Why isn't there no show? What happened? Oh, you overslept, huh? So a little hate mail for last week, but yeah.
Was that the same person that usually sends you mail?
That was one. That was one of them. But yeah. So
I was wondering how come we didn't get into the show's inbox.
I'm like, I'm getting back on this work schedule because I'm going back to work and it's killing me. So yeah.
Well, speaking back to work, my daughter is officially working because I cooked out Saturday night. I got me a new grill. Charcoal, not gas. Gas would be more convenient, but charcoal, man, you just can't beat the flavor that you get on a charcoal grill.
See, I don't like the taste of charcoal on my food. Everybody does around me, but I just don't like that.
I don't put charcoal on my food. I put it in the bottom.
You know what I mean? It comes up and it gets kind of that taste in the food, and I just don't like it.
Well, that's probably when people use too much lighter fluid. That's probably the taste that you get. Yeah. If you do it properly, you don't get that
Can't stand that. Ugh.
But see, now they also have a lot of flavored charcoals now with the hardwood mixed in with the charcoals. You can get hickory or mesquite or applewood or pecan, and I got hickory, and I could taste more hickory than I could taste charcoal, which was cool. But I figure if you're cooking with charcoal, you've got a good heat source for at least 2 hours.
Right.
So why are you just going to grill burgers that'll take you 15 minutes,
Right.
and then you waste all that fire? So I decided I would cook up a bunch of different things, and I could eat all week on all my grilled food, which I did. So, but of course, I was going to do yesterday, but I thought after church, I've got to pass by Kroger. I'll stop at the deli and get me some chicken salad. Maybe I'll get waited on by a really cool employee, which I did. And she learned how to make chicken salad too. And she scooped up my little container of chicken salad, and she looked over at the manager and she says, "I just made this yesterday and we're almost out." And he went, "Get used to that." He said, "We can't keep in that chicken salad." She went, "Well, why?" And I said, "Because it's good. Why do you think I'm here?"
Right.
Their derby chicken salad is awesome. She learned how to make banana pudding, but she didn't bring me any of that.
Wow.
So, I know.
Mm-mm-mm.
And she likes the deli slicer, man, because she can slice meat and cheese.
Right. Right.
But it's exciting because Walmart screwed her over, and Kroger is more than happy to have her, and she has friendly co-workers that can speak proper English and complete sentences.
That's always good.
Well, I mean,
And she doesn't have, well, she could potentially deal with the unruly customer, but I just feel like you're going to get that more at Walmart.
her first day at Walmart, she had unruly customers.
Right.
And at least at Kroger, with that deli counter, customer can't just shove you in the chest because I didn't ask for any stupid self-checkouts. They got in the self-checkout line when there were other registers open, and then came over and shoved her because they did it. And I said, I would have called the police and had him charged with assault. You don't get to do that. But anyhow, that's how that is. So yeah, you apparently you like your new podcast better than this one. You never oversleep for your new podcast.
Well, see, because that time is set for 3 p.m, and yeah, I'm not oversleeping then.
Well, see, I can't even schedule guests because I have to worry about I get somebody and they confirm. Well, you're laughing, but that's why I tried to schedule guests.
Well, see, that's not going to last long because I'm just getting back on the schedule, and yeah, it's been rough, but I'm slowly getting there.
Probably should have done that from the beginning, and then you wouldn't be in this mess.
Yeah.
Oh, I grind. You don't know how I grind. I don't have to sleep.
I'm telling you, man.
You don't have to sleep, except you sleep right through the show. So, again.
My bad.
And I think what it was is that you did not want to acknowledge that maybe, just maybe, Hickman actually was being very sincere about wanting to stay closer to home.
Now, see, I said that was a factor, but see,
you said a factor.
This is what happened, though. See, I did talk to some inside guys who were close to the recruiting, and there was, and I'm not going to say because that's between their parents and them, but there was more to it. The homesick was a factor. Maybe I took that less of a factor because I was like, he's not homesick, so I'll give you that. But there was more to the Hickman recruiting. I would just say that.
Oh, we're going to talk about you're going to talk like the media people that you slam all the time.
No, I'm just saying. I mean, that's not.
Yeah.
Even if it was told to me directly from someone, I wouldn't. If they didn't want me to put their business out there, I wouldn't do it. And I've came straight to you and told you some things, and I didn't put the business out there. I'm just not. That's not my place to do that. So, the media people you're speaking of would. Or some of them would. So, especially one platform we know, they definitely would.
Gee, and you had one of them as a guest on your other podcast. Oh, well,
Yeah.
yeah.
I actually like him.
Okay. Hang on here.
And you know, I get no guest. You get the guest, and JD gets the guest.
Well, yeah,
I
but
got one
I'm
guest
at
book.
I'm at a handicap. I can't get a guest if I can't tell them specifically when we're having a show.
Right. I got one guest, and that's it. But yeah, we're good. We're good now.
We'll see how, whatever. We'll see how good you are. You should know this one. Even if you don't follow golf, you should know this one. I can't imagine that you wouldn't know this one. You have to know this
Tiger
one.
Woods.
This is UK trivia. Did Tiger go to UK?
All right.
He went to Stanford.
Well, see, that's what you're saying. You said golf.
No.
That's all I know about golf is Tiger Woods.
That's not true. I bet you'll know it when I say it. The Kentucky men's golfer who was a 3-time paying All-American and the 2005 SEC Player of the Year.
And I know who you're talking about, and I can't think of his name.
Tell me something else you might know about him that would help. This will help me believe that you know him.
Didn't you do a scramble with him?
No.
Or his uncle or somebody in his family, I feel like.
No. I can tell you he played on a Ryder Cup team. I can tell you that he had brain surgery.
Yeah, I can't.
A few years back, and he had to make
know
a
who you're
comeback
talking
on the
about, and I
tour.
can't think of his name.
He wears a black golfing glove. That doesn't help you either, does it?
No.
J.B. Holmes.
Yes.
When
Didn't you do a tournament with like his uncle or dad or somebody, or was that somebody else?
Probably somebody else.
Okay.
I would have remembered that. I feel certain.
Yeah, Holmes. Yeah. I knew who you were talking about, but I couldn't think of his
But
name.
fun fact, when he attended UK, he went by his actual name, John Holmes. And
Wowzers.
yeah, so it was not really a big surprise that he decided to go to the PGA Tour as JB.
All righty then.
Well, I mean, seriously, it's like, I remember the first one, like, John Holmes shoots a whatever, and I'm like,
Right.
Snicker, laugh, like, dude. I mean, I know that you're well, anyway, we won't go there. Okay, I'll give you football trivia. Maybe you'll get this one. You feel more confident about football trivia?
Yeah.
Name the Kentucky alum. They're giving you too many clues. You'll get this one real quick. Who, as a Pittsburgh Steeler rookie in 2015, brought down New England Patriots superstar Tom Brady for his first NFL quarterback sack?
Bud Dupree.
See, I knew you'd know that one. I knew that. I don't know that I have any more.
And I love the trivia, but man, I really like, I'll know who you're talking about, and I just won't be able to pull their name. Like their name will be right there, and
you pull a lot of other stuff out of your.
I'm just blank on names.
Anyway, yeah, that's what he says because he probably doesn't know, but
I do know it, but I just go blank. But yeah.
Anyway, so we titled this "Time to Look Ahead."
TyTyme to look ahead.
And I don't think it was that big of a surprise that he signed with Kentucky. Do you?
No, I was a little nervous when Hickman left because they're really good friends. So I was like, oh, will that hurt the chance? But no, I mean, once they were out there going, it's done deal.
Now, here's what got me. Some of these, these fans that know everything and how there was no chance on earth we were going to get TyTyme and California sucks and whatever. Now, he committed less than a week after we had Coach O and Coach Chen, right? But there's a good chunk of little fans over here, the ones that wear their little tinfoil hats. Coach O already getting the work done.
Wow,
so they're giving Coach O full credit, like Cal had, previous staff had absolutely nothing to do with, like TyTyme had to, Kentucky wasn't even on his radar, but Coach O came back, and Coach O probably hadn't even gotten his suitcase to Lexington.
They've started working, but
they're starting on the next class.
Right.
And to sit there and give them credit for TyTyme, I think is like a little bit on the ludicrous side.
Right. Well, Cal gets no credit. No.
Well, he gets credit for everything that goes wrong, but he never gets credit for a single thing that happens right.
Right. By those fans.
So, like, either Cal is the one that is responsible, or he's not. You can't just decide to make him responsible for the bad stuff.
Yeah.
And give credit for the good stuff to everybody else.
Right.
That's just my 2 cents.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, but it happens quite a bit.
Now, the one that did was a pleasant surprise, because things are going back in our favor. We've got the coaching staff kind of lined up. We got TyTyme. I did not have full confidence we would get Wheeler.
Yeah.
That was one I felt could maybe, he might slip over to the cheater side, which actually that would have been any of his other 3 schools, wouldn't it?
Probably, yeah.
Was it Kansas? Didn't he have Kansas, Arizona, and UNC as his other potential schools?
I think so. I know Kansas was the big one because there was,
And I feel real certain UNC was there. And I'm thinking it was Arizona, because I remember. And the reason I think, and like I said, I could be wrong, because there's a whole lot of recruiting lists popping around recently.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with it too. There's been a lot of lists out there,
but I felt like this one, the reason I'm thinking I feel good about the ones I listed here was because I thought, well, why don't you pick the only school that's not cheating?
That was 2 gets from Kansas, really, that we were in with, so I love that. But Severe Wheeler is the real deal. And a lot of people were hating on him, but this kid is
and I didn't understand that either. It's like, what did they want? What was so, I don't understand what it is they think that we should have gotten.
They griped all year about this team. Severe Wheeler is a facilitator.
Yeah, we want somebody who can get the ball to the right people at the right time.
Yeah.
And the film I've watched on Wheeler he does exactly that. And while not the greatest shooter in the world, he does have a couple of very reliable shots.
Yeah.
Now, isn't this exactly what we wanted?
He's the piece to the puzzle.
You add TyTyme to it, who, guess what? Can score. Who knew?
Yeah.
And listening to Wheeler, his interview, this.
Now, see, that's what he's a likable kid. He's,
y'all can talk about, well, not you specifically, but the fans that are just all bent up in double knots about not getting enough Kentucky natives. Give me somebody that knows every bit of Kentucky basketball history like the back of his hand and can tell you what player made what play, in what game, in what year.
Yeah.
And why I see myself as kind of like that. However, my difference is I would do this instead.
Yeah. He spat off the guards that played together under Cal. Like, just doom, 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 doom.
And then tell me that they don't care about Kentucky. That's just
right.
I know players that grew up in Kentucky that don't care about Kentucky.
Right. So Severe, the historian Wheeler.
I don't think that nickname's not going to stick, Jay.
I don't want it to stick, but that's how he came in, and he I don't know if you saw my tweet that I'm 6'2" with shoes on. I'm 6'1" at home, but that kid's going to be a fan favorite. I like him already, but He's what we needed.
Listening to TyTyme, I've enjoyed hearing his interview. Actually, I can't think of any player we've got coming in this year that I haven't enjoyed. And I don't want to say that to in any way dismiss or say anything negative about last year's team, because I thought we had a fantastic group of very likable kids.
Oh, yeah.
Great attitudes. They lost. They didn't figure out the gelling together. There was just one little missing link somehow.
There was a lot of factors that went into that too.
Yeah, and why trash the whole team? Like I said, I still believe if Keon Brooks had been healthy at the beginning of the year and you have him playing from day one, you win some of the early games that you lost, having those wins under your belt, you have more confidence knowing that you know how to win a game. So some of those 6 one-point games become Kentucky victory. I feel very strongly we would have had somewhere around 18 victories, or at least, had Keon been healthy at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, and a lot of people seem to forget too. We had those 6 games that were decided by 3 or less, 3 by 3 and 3 by 1. I mean, so if we had just a little bit of luck and a couple of those shots fell, different story. But they kept fighting. Just a lot of factors go into the fact that it was a horrible year. I mean, they were locked down. And people say, "Oh, COVID." The other teams didn't. I mean, like we've talked about, some teams weren't locked down like some teams, and I think that hurt us some. And the Keon Brooks injury and Terrence Clark injury, and I mean, it happened. That doesn't make this team less or the new team now more likable, But I understand what you're saying, and I'm just waiting for Mintz and Brooks now to. I don't even know if they will say it. They just pop back up. So,
I'm for whatever reason, the fact that he has not announced makes me think strongly that Brooks is coming back. I think he has, above everybody else, he has unfinished business.
I think so.
He was supposed to be the leader last year. He got injured. He led as he could, but when he was speaking at the little candlelight service that they had for Clark, and if I understood correctly, he was one of the ringleaders in getting that organized. I think that particular event, some people say, well, that should make him just want to go on, run on to the NBA. And I'm thinking maybe it's, you appreciate every minute of every experience that you have. And if you came to Kentucky with the goal of a championship, you're not going to leave Kentucky without giving it one more fair shake.
Right. I don't think we've seen his ceiling yet either. I mean, this past year, even when he came back, he really didn't. He wasn't playing that good, that great.
Well, and the whole thing, when you come back from an injury, and I've mentioned this before when we've had people with long or nagging injuries, it's trusting your body when you come back, because you might think, sorry, I forgot to silence my phone. Well, that's my ringtone, and it's because it is my birthday.
We rock Kentucky Blue.
We do.
That's for sure.
But it's hard, like, when you're healthy and then you get injured, when you come back, even though especially if you've had a particularly long rehab, which Keon seemed to have dragged on for a bit.
Yeah.
But you have this little thing in the back of your mind.
Yeah.
What if I step this way or I pivot too quick, am I going to undo all the months that I just went through? And you got to play through that. And then you build confidence that, it really is rehabbed. And yes, I can really play and not crumble. But it just, I don't know, maybe it's a mom feeling. Maybe it's indigestion. I don't know. But I just have Since I saw him speaking at Terrence Clark's vigil, I just had this feeling he's coming back.
Right. I think he is too. We haven't seen his ceiling yet, and I think this is
Matt,
a year that people are like, oh, this is the Keon Brooks, and throwing out the injury, but a healthy Keon Brooks is a really good player.
Sorry, are you saying the roof is the ceiling? Oh, I'm sorry. That's something Michael Jordan would say.
Yeah, the roof.
The roof is the ceiling. Oh, my goodness. So, I had a question. I got to go and look and see if it'll actually bring up my little list. There was something that spurred a question, and I know it every time I read the line, and now, of course, Google is taking their dear sweet time in showing me my documents. Isn't that swell of them? Well, news in football. And I tell you who I wanted. I really wanted Dick Gabriel. I was going to try to get him as a guest, but I couldn't ask him to be a guest if I didn't know what time we were going to have a show or if we were going to have a show.
Right.
Because the question I wanted to ask, so Clinkscales left Kentucky football.
Yeah.
And a lot of people were going about what a huge loss that was, and that actually he had his hand in most of the recruiting. And that little tidbit, that went flying through Twitter like wildfire.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw Big Dog's comment about that.
I did not.
He was happy for Clink, and don't worry, Blue. He's going to roll on. Don't
Yeah.
Like you think I don't know how to recruit? Like like he was the only one who did it. And yes, it was a loss. I will give you that. It was a loss, but Stoops. You can say about the players, and people can be critical about Stoops for a whole lot of things. But when he's lost, everybody said when Matt House left, or our defense is screwed because Matt House was everything.
Yeah.
And
nobody said that about Eddie Grand, though.
Well, they didn't say it about Neil Brown, and look what Neil Brown went and did.
Yeah.
And then, who was it after Neil Brown? So there's drawing a blank. There was who was pre-Eddie Grand. It was.
Let me ask you this though, Clinkscale, is that a downgrade?
In a downgrade, what?
Leaving Kentucky?
Oh, for him, okay. Well, but if his new job, as I understand, in 2 seasons, then he becomes co-offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
So it was a career path that probably was not as solidified as at Kentucky.
Yeah.
And I get that because, like I said, Stoops and his staff, they don't just recruit and develop players. They recruit and develop staff that move on.
Yeah.
And you got to, they said Neil Brown, everybody's like, oh, well, he's not worth anything as an offensive coordinator and blah, 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 blah. He was there the first 2 years of Stoops. The Stoops era when, you had to get rid of all the Joker junk and change a whole culture mindset, because nobody at Kentucky football had a thing about that we should win, we could win, we might win. It was, how bad are we going to lose?
Yeah.
That was the culture, and they had to tell. And I said, Neil Brown goes, takes a head coaching gig, and boom. He was a star. But there's, Kentucky fans, some of them are really, 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 really smart. But anyway, so the question, like I said, and I would have loved to have gotten Dick Gabriel's response, because I think he would have had really great insight. Do you think, impact-wise, for the coming season, is the impact of Clinkscale's departure going to be greater than UK basketball gaining Coach O and Coach Chin, or vice versa. I just like to see that, just the impact of the two situations, the gaining of two, the loss of one, two different sports, a little apples, oranges. But if anybody would have some really in-depth insight on the impact of all those changes, I think Dick Gabriel would have been it.
Yeah. Wow. That's
It's a good question, don't you think?
Yeah, I do. That you said, I would never thought anything like that. That's I would think basketball is getting a lot more. And not because there's two or one, over the one, but one of those we know and know what he did while he was here. So I would lean toward that more, but on the football side is a lot different, and recruiting goes. We still got great recruiting though.
But then he was also excellent at his position coaching.
Yes. I don't know. We'll see.
It is definitely something to, and we get a guest in the future that like Dick Gabriel, Mark Story, I think would also be another one good to ask about that. But that's a question that until either one of the seasons starts, it's still fair game to ask it because nobody knows yet.
Right.
Now, Coach Chan, of course, he made, his big splash with his video about many championships, and he wants to win many more championships. Right. Don't hand that guy a Red Bull. That's all I'm saying.
They're both likable guys. He's likable and O is likable as well. And we know him. It's going to be fun. I've seen a lot of people say like the revenge tour.
Well,
and but I'm more like Kentucky will see you soon. We'll see you soon.
I'm more like I hope you enjoyed last year.
Yeah. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you soon.
Like one of our pastors at church, the Auburn fan, says yesterday, well, since it's your birthday tomorrow, I can send you some links to some great Auburn games.
Wow.
And I said, or since it's my birthday, I could send you some links, a lot of links to some Kentucky Auburn games.
Yeah.
He said, what? He said, I didn't say Kentucky. And I said, well, because you really can't.
Right. People have this notion for one bad year that's what we do, like all the time.
But if you let me finish my story here, because it does get better. He said, well, I didn't say Kentucky Auburn. And I said, I know you didn't. I said, like, what leg are you going to stand on? He goes, although recently. And I said, well, in 2006 and 2007, Florida said that. In the mid-90s, Arkansas said that. I said, matter of fact, I said, even 3 years ago, Tennessee said that. Our worst season ever, and we beat Tennessee at Tennessee. So, I mean, I said, everybody said it. I said, but let's get real. I said, when it comes to basketball, I said, football, I said, don't sleep on it. I said, your time's coming. And it's not going to be a flash in the pan, couple of years kind of thing. I said, when we get over that last little hump, people be talking about Kentucky in the same breath that they're mentioning Auburn for football. I said, but in terms of basketball, I said, we've had some down years. I said, y'all have had down decades. And Kentucky has more SEC championships than the rest of the league combined. We always get a Johnny come lately. We always get a new kid on the block. Like, look, we won a couple of years. Kentucky better move over. We're the new big, whatever. Yeah. No, you're not. You're the flavor of the month at Baskin Robbins, and they'll replace you next month with another one to be number 31.
Yeah.
Hope you have fun. I'm not saying I'm salty, but whatever. Lost in all of the football and the basketball and softball, which we'll get to in a minute. Lost in all that was the fact that this past weekend, Kentucky women's golf team, for the first time since 1992, were actually in the field competing for the NCAA championship, which is kind of a big deal. And they had a 3-day tournament. Well, it's actually 4 days. But the 3-day tournament, the top 15 teams would then move on to the finals today. And Kentucky hung in there. They hung in there, and they just missed the cut late last night. But they did a fantastic job this season. And again, that's the one thing Mitch Barnhart said. He wanted Kentucky teams to constantly be challenging for national championships. So they're doing that.
Yeah. Did you watch it? Was it any of it televised? Did you see any of it?
They did not have it. Well, I did not look. I looked one day on ESPN online and didn't see it. But they had an application where you could follow live scoring on the event. So I actually had that up on my desktop, and I was monitoring them all 3 days. So yeah, I'm a little bit of just a little bit of a geek there.
You're a golf person, so.
Well, PGA Championship was going on, but I am, unpopular opinion, I am so not a Phil Mickelson fan. I just do not care for him. He made mental health a priority. Okay, good. Appreciate that. Kudos. Oldest guy to win a major. Okay, kudos. But what I will never forget was in 2014 when I was working at the PGA Championship at Valhalla. And Phil came in. And that was the year that Tiger was coming back from some injuries. And there was a question whether or not he would play in that particular tournament. And on Wednesday, when they had the practice round, like the big official practice round for the players, I was there. So I worked 4 different days at the tournament, but I had asked to be off Wednesday so I could watch the practice round, which is a whole lot more interesting to me than watching the actual competition because they try different things. There's a lot more conversations. They're more relaxed. They interact with the fans. So we're heading over to the driving range area where the players were warming up. And there was a big buzz going on that Tiger was on his way, that he indeed was going to be in the tournament. And they have reserved parking, like right up, right there at the entrance of the course for all the players, or well, not all the players, for previous champions. The rest of us had to park, 4 miles away and get bussed in. That's another story for another day. But we happened to be walking along the little drive where the reserved parking places were, and Phil Mickelson had arrived. And we walked by my friend Sherry, and I'm like, look, I said, there's Tiger's parking spot. We know where to check to see if he actually makes it today. Like, well, if you want to check to see if Tiger's in a tournament, you just look for the big mass of people. I mean, it's like, bees to honey or whatever. So anyhow, there was some of the press. They were wandering around in the parking lot. I guess they were all looking to see if Tiger had been there. And here comes Phil, and he gets out of his SUV, puts his cap on. He's doing that with his hair before he puts the hat on. And maybe one reporter went up and asked him a couple of questions. Well, then you see this black Buick drive up, and I'm like, oh man, that's the car he endorses. And sure enough, Tiger arrives, and all the press just, and nobody looked twice at Phil, and Phil got ticked off about it. Phil was angry. Okay. I get it. I mean, most people would say, cool, nobody's looking at me. I can go on about my thing and have less stress. But he was angry. And so we go on throughout the day. We watched the practice round. And everybody always talked about how rude Tiger was and how full of himself he was, and he thought he was better than everybody else. When that practice round ended, Tiger gets off the course. He stood there for over 40 minutes signing autographs for kids, talking to kids. Phil comes out of his practice round and somebody's like, Mr. Mickelson, can you sign my program? I don't have time, and stopped. And he was rude to fans and to kids. And that just went all through me because I'm thinking, dude, how many Masters have you choked in? How many other tournaments have you choked in on Sunday when you had a lead and you choked it all away? And these kids still think you're okay. And you talk horrible to them.
Did he take Tiger's lunch? Didn't they have what was it, $8 million little thing going on? And
that was after this. And
I could see him being a jerk like that, though.
But he was. And he was just a self-righteous little, I don't have time for you. And Tiger, who has come back from an injury, who probably could use the rest, because we know as soon as Tiger gets off the green, what he's going to do is going to go back over the practice green, the driving range, and he's going to work on any shots he didn't feel comfortable with, and he's going to work for a good hour or two after coming off the practice. Now, Phil just told people he didn't have time for it, and he jumped in his car and he left. And that just stuck with me all this. I'm thinking, if you ever want me to be your fan,
yeah,
kiss that goodbye. So whatever, go do your psoriatic arthritis commercial or whatever it is you're well, Tiger endorses Buicks, and then Phil endorses bad joint medication. Not right. The medication's bad, the joints are bad. But I said I would mention what?
I feel like Tiger probably has those bad days too, where he's like that.
He very well may. I'm just saying, my time that I got to attend a PGA event,
you saw the total prick in Mickelson.
Yeah. And that was
cool that you were there. I haven't, this is the first time I heard this, and I'm like, what?
Oh, that was, yeah. Now you can, if you're a member of the United States Golf Association, which when you're in golf leagues, you pay your $20 annual membership fee, and they send you a calendar of all the PGA type or the USGA sanctioned events, which like the US Open and PGA Championship, etc. And you get your little cap and little ball marker. But they also will send you, when there's events in your area, they will send you an invitation to become a volunteer. Now, it's important to recognize that when you become a volunteer, you have to pay for the privilege. And it cost close to, it was $280 for me to give them 20 hours of my time. But I got a really cool shirt. I got a one-of-a-kind jacket. I got a hat. And for the days that, or even if I was volunteering, you had like 4-hour shifts or whatever, you could stay on the course after that and you could walk around. So if it was a practice day, you could watch the practice. If it was a competition day, you could stay and watch the competition, and you would have paid easily $50 to get in on the Saturday, Sunday tickets, $30 for Thursday and Friday. You would have paid $20 just to watch practice round, plus $20 for parking, plus,
right.
So I got to think, I got to watch, and I worked 4 different days, and then I went separately on the practice round, but to see all the golf that I saw, it would have cost me somewhere over $400. So I paid $280, and I didn't even count with the cost of the jacket and the hat and the shirt, because that was easily another $100 if you wanted to buy those things in the USGA online shop. Except you couldn't get that jacket. That jacket was special to the volunteers. But that was a bucket list kind of thing. And there's actually a picture of me on the Friday, which was the second day of competition, where I was working hole number 4. And I was up close to the greenside bunker. So I was one of the people that stood there, with your arms out. Shh, be quiet, people. And I think it's TNT that was televising it. I got a screen cap of me holding the crowd back. But you can't see me real good because of Phil Mickelson's big fat head that they had a close up.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's why you don't like him.
No, I didn't like him before that because the practice round was 2 days before. And I thought, you really, really, really don't want me to be fan. It wasn't him. It's just ironic that happened.
I will say there's no denying that he is one of the best. He's good at the game.
He's also good at mismanaging a whole lot. But I know that's the golf in me. But before we don't want to run out of time, because if we skip softball, we'd be skipping something really, really, really important. Because the regionals kicked off this past weekend, and Kentucky was a regional host site. And so they had Northwestern, Notre Dame, and Miami, Ohio that were all there. They play a double elimination format. If those of you that are not familiar with how softball works for the NCAA. So Kentucky played Northwestern on Friday. They beat them. Notre Dame beat Miami. So now you got the 2 winners play each other. The 2 losers play each other.
All right.
The loser that loses the second time, they're gone. We played Notre Dame on Saturday, and we came out of the gate. I mean, aggressive play. A squeeze bunt. You don't do that in the first inning. You don't do a sacrifice squeeze bunt and be successful, score the runner from third, and the one who bunted was safe too. Nobody gets run. It's like bam, bam, bam. We scored 3 runs, and it was, like I said, aggressive base running, aggressive play calling. And I was like, man, they're serious about this. And then Notre Dame went nuts. I told Dick Gabriel, I was like, yeah. I said, apparently we just pissed off Notre Dame. They ended up run ruling the Cats 12-3 on their own field. Now, you know how the run rule thing works, right? Yeah. And Kentucky, I can't remember the last time they got run ruled. I do not even remember. I know they do it to a lot of people.
Yeah.
But I also remember, I think it was 3 years ago, Kentucky lost their game on Saturday in the double elimination thing, and they had to play 2 games on another game on Saturday, and then 2 more games on Sunday just to get to the super regionals. And we did it. Now, there was one person who we've noticed of late in the last year, that a lot of negativity in their tweets. It's a media person. Always taking the gloom and doom thing, and then claims that he's not taking the gloom and doom thing. Demands apologies where none are due.
I mean, just don't say, call him out by name.
That's your.
Oh, well, I'll call him out. John Wong.
He said when they lost the game to Notre Dame, well, now they'd have to win 3 in a row, and they really dug themselves in the hole that I'm not sure they can get out of. And it's all gloom and doom tweet. Gloom and doom. And I'm thinking, you were around 3 years ago when they dug themselves out. Like, whatever. So we had to play Northwestern again on Saturday, and we beat them again. Get to yesterday, we got Notre Dame 2 games in a row. And, of course, Notre Dame just run ruled it. So, well, I said where we pissed off Notre Dame by being really aggressive in that first inning. Notre Dame pissed off the Cats by run ruling them on their own field.
Yeah.
So we won the first game 7-0.
Yeah.
Waited a half hour, turned around, played them again, and beat them 4-0 the second time. So Kentucky is on to the Super Regionals in Tuscaloosa. They will be playing Alabama, and the Super Regionals, that becomes a best of 3, I believe. Almost certain. So I guess let's see. So you got 16 regional sites, 4 teams each. That's your field of 64. You take one of each of that, so you have 16. So this would be like yeah, that's right. So the Sweet 16 basically is what, if you were putting that into anything, you should try to put it in terms of like March Madness. This is us in the Sweet 16.
Right.
And game 1 will be Friday at 1 p.m. I hope they mean game 2 would be on Saturday, because I think that they may have gotten just a little hasty with their press release, because I was going to, yes, it is Saturday when they had that all listed down. Game 1 Friday, game 2 Saturday at 2 p.m. Now, the Friday game will be on ESPN2. The Saturday game will be on ESPN. If game 3 is necessary, that will be Sunday at 4 on ESPNU. Not sure how come we couldn't stick with one network, but whatever. We will be playing Alabama, which they're not going to be a stranger to us like any of the other teams. So that we have beat them this year. So the Cats should take that into, got that, you also lost to them, but hey, you beat them.
Yeah.
So maybe confidence builder. Once you come out of Super Regionals, then you start talking, because that's 8 teams, then you're in the College World Series. We've been to the College World Series before. The next step for Rachel Lawson is actually win the thing.
Yeah.
But one step at a time. Get out of Super Regionals. You can't get to the College World Series if you don't win your Super Regional. What are you doing, Jay?
Reading your outline.
Most people would do that before the show.
Well, I did, and I'm looking at the bottom. I'm like, what is? Oh, okay. But yeah.
Looking at the bottom, what's at the bottom is
Cats and NBA.
Yeah, last year they set a record for a school that had the most players from one school scoring the most points in the NBA playoffs.
Right.
So this year they decided they would just put 15 former Cats in the playoffs, although really 14 because Jamal Murray. That's a bummer for him.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like, it never gets old saying that we run the league, and you can't have a conversation, professional basketball.
9 teams in the playoffs. 9 of them have former Wildcats on them.
Yeah.
And let's get real. Don't call them the NY Knicks. They're the KY Knicks. And there's a lot of Nick hate that goes on. I get it, but it's hard not to like these Knicks. I mean, Kevin Knox, just so likable. Nerlens Noel, I mean, nasty shot blocker. You know, we didn't get the best Noel had to offer. And of course, then he got injured. But when you watch him in the NBA, you're like, dude.
Yeah.
Oh. And that's not a slam on Anthony Davis, but Nerlens could give Anthony a few shot blocking lessons.
I think Noel is a better shot blocker than Davis.
Oh, yeah. Now Davis is a much better shooter.
Yeah. All around player, I think.
But Noel, Noel was born to block shots.
Yeah.
I think Anthony had to learn that skill.
I don't know. He has good timing, and that's something you can't teach. But
I think Noel has better instinct. I think he knows quicker where it's going to come from.
Yeah.
Julius Randle, how do you not
a
love Julius
beast.
Randle? Oh
He
my
is
gosh.
a beast.
Well, and the way, and how he has provided for his mama. I mean, and just that genuine, his whole story.
He has worked and continued to work to get the recognition he deserves.
And then you get IQ, who just pops up and explodes. I mean, but he was that little piece they needed.
Yeah.
They needed that little spark plug, that burst of energy, and that guy that never stops smiling.
I heard the commentator say, well, he quickly pulls up from 3, swish. Well, that's what he does. He hits from long range.
And he's not cocky about it. That's the thing. I mean, he does this little celebration kind of thing, but it's not. Let's face it, Jamal Murray was cocky about it.
Yeah.
The whole bow and arrow thing. I mean, I'm sorry, but that, and he earned it. He earned it, but still.
Quickly does the 3 and then the ice in the veins.
Yeah. But it's just.
I mean, they're professional. So, I mean, you got to put on somewhat of you got to be swagged out a little bit.
Yeah. But I mean, but still, he does it low key.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that about him. Of course, Willie Cauley-Stein, glad to see he's back in the playoffs. This is not exactly his first rodeo. Cousins, Patterson, and Rondo, bless their hearts. I just think the Clippers franchise as a whole is kind of like the Chicago White Sox or something,
Man.
They're like the Cleveland Browns of the NBA. Just they just didn't go. I just bless their hearts.
I'm looking at your list. There's so many names.
You got, of course, Bam and Tyler down in Miami.
Yeah, there's so many names.
And of course, the Phoenix Suns, which used to be the gathering place for all former Kentucky guards.
Yeah.
At one point, didn't we have like 4 guards there at one time on the roster? They had, I think they had Brandon Knight.
One that I was a question I got wrong. Bledsoe.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they had Ulis and Booker there briefly, and then they let Ulis go.
Yeah.
And I'm surprised that Booker he stayed there. I mean,
Well, I mean, they paid him $1 gazillion. So.
Well, I know, but Tyler's his boy.
Yeah. Yeah. When it comes to $1 gazillion, though, it's.
Well, he'd already had $1 gazillion in the bank. So.
And just because people have different jobs, so they're still boys. I'm sure they hang out quite a bit. And they have the money to do that, regardless if they live.
Yeah, but there's never going to be anything as cool as them sitting in their dorm room wearing footy pajamas playing video games.
That's true.
I mean, that's the image that will stick with me forever. When I think of Devin Booker, it's not as a jet-setting, getting famous women pregnant.
When I think Devin Booker, I just like a girl licked his car handle. Like, what? So, but he's a beast, and they're all still young too.
That's the thing doesn't it seem like a lifetime ago that Willie Cauley-Stein was at Kentucky?
It does.
6 years. It wasn't a lifetime ago. It's 6 years.
Yeah, these guys are pretty young still,
Now, Rondo, okay, I get that, because that was, I mean, that was
he's
Tubby
still
days.
a beast. He's still he is I could see him as a coach. Like, he knows the game.
Indeed, he does.
Yeah.
Tyrese Maxey. I mean, and it's not just like they're just on these teams. They're not just on the rosters. Every one of these players
producing big. Yeah.
And it's not just like a Kentucky media person putting a clip out there. It's NBA, the NBA Twitter account putting out clips.
Yeah.
Or ESPN putting out clips, and it's like Kentucky player after Kentucky player after Kentucky player. And
shout out to Keldon Johnson too.
Oh, man.
He had from beginning and doing the G League thing for the 1 year, and then, being on the team with the Spurs, he was producing, got into some big stats,
Well, I'm going to say not just producing, but setting records.
Yeah. That's what we do. We run the league. That's it's hard to have NBA conversation without mentioning a Kentucky player.
That is true.
Very true. Some people argue that, but it's a fact.
Well, and the whole thing that gets me, and people be talking about, well, I don't know what it is. Cal's lost his touch. He can't seem to recruit anybody like DeMarcus Cousins or Willie Cauley-Stein. He doesn't seem to get those. Well, they're looking at them when they see somebody new come in. They look at them like the way they're playing in the NBA now was how they played when they set foot on UK's campus. No. Some of you all were not all that excited about Willie Cauley-Stein when he was a freshman.
Yeah.
I know people had issues with IQ when he was a freshman. I know people said Julius Randle was overrated. And my favorite, I thought Jamal Murray was a shooter. It just that absolute lapse of they're not NBA caliber when they get to Kentucky.
Right.
And if you have a problem with Cal recruiting that caliber of player that has that level of potential development.
I remember a lot of people saying Keldon Johnson wouldn't make it in the NBA.
Yeah.
I was like, what? Yeah. Even a lot of these players are like, no chance. I mean, but,
And
I would have liked to have some of them for a couple years, to be honest with you.
I mean, there's also some players everybody said were not misses that, whoosh, where are they?
Right.
Just saying.
Yeah. There's some guys that left Kentucky. And
very famously in the Daniel Orton, we'll just go ahead and call him by name.
Yeah.
But when they had the basketball tournament, the TBT, you're familiar with it.
Yeah.
When they came and played in a regional in Lexington a couple of years ago.
Right. At Frederick Douglass, right?
Yes, sir. I was there. I had credentials. I sat in a room, and I had a lot more respect for Orton because he actually was talking to which he was not real personable with the press. He thought he was John Wall level. He wasn't. Could have been, I think, if he'd stayed and developed some more. But he left prematurely. He had to take the hard knock route. So he talks with the press a whole lot more. But like I said, I give him props because he showed, because he spoke. And you could tell the whole thing humbled him. And he's had to grind ever since to get through that.
Yeah.
And because I didn't get into the media game until after Cousins was gone, this is the first time I got to see him up close and personal. The dude is huge.
Yeah.
You feel very, 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 very small in his presence. And his brother looks a whole lot like him. So that was my takeaways from the basketball tournament.
Well, we're past that 1 hour mark.
Barely. We didn't start exactly on time either.
Yeah. Because you were late.
Don't even.
I'm just saying, take us out.
And I can't help it if it takes forever for StreamYard to let you connect. Because I had to reload that 3 times before I could get where it would let me come into the studio. So take it up with StreamYard.
Wow.
Anyway, it's that time of the year, and Oh my gosh, I've been places without a mask this week because I'm allowed to. Although I will say in a lot of settings, I will continue to wear a mask because, hey, last week people were putting gasoline in plastic bags.
Yeah.
I think we could all benefit from wearing some masks.
Yeah.
But life is getting back to normal. If you haven't got your vaccination, get it so you too can join the other happy, normal people. I'm not being tracked by the government. I haven't grown a third eye. And still, today, wherever I go, whatever I do,
I always rock Kentucky Blue.
Thanks for listening to the Rockin' Kentucky Blue podcast. You can find us on iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, TuneIn, Spotify, Radio Public, or wherever you get your podcasts. Be sure to stop by and leave us a rating and review. And tune in next time for another episode of Rockin' Kentucky Blue.